Hey guys, Flight Sim Jammer here. Today we're working on a mount for the Extreme 3D Pro, and up here at the shop at the welding table, gonna make a base. Um, the joystick sits too far on the floor because the 170 or the 150 did not have a joystick in it or stick. It had a yoke. So today we are going to make a mount for it. So let me get turned around here and I'll show you. Okay, so here's the 3D Pro, and this is just a piece of regular metal, and you can see I've already got one kind of cut out. That's what we're going for. I will at some point cut little slits out of these, and then we can use Velcro to go through here and hook it to the base. This piece, as a matter of fact, is going to sit on top of that like that. And so the best way that I found so far is 10 snips to cut these out because I don't have a shear. We will be using these chunks of metal here, and still trying to decide exactly how I want to do it. I know I need it 8 inches. So yeah, hang tight. We'll get going and just kind of follow along. Make sure that when you're doing this stuff that you have PPE or safety gear, safety glasses, gloves, earmuffs. Even if they're cheap ones like that, they still work better than nothing. We are gonna do exactly what I did with this one. We will use the 10 snips we have here, and I will just cut along a rough shape and get it roughly cut out, and then we will get it closer after we do that. If I had a stomp shear, we could put it in, line it up, stomp it, and it should be right off in seconds. It'd be super easy if you have one of those. So you could, if you had a cutoff wheel or a die grinder, something of that sort, you could use that. I do have a electric shear, and then it doesn't, but that's all right. This takes a little bit of time, but it's not that bad. The big thing is I'm trying to use as little, or have as little waste as possible. So it'll take a little bit longer to cut it out, because it does tend to bevel the edges a little bit. So sort of going like that. Should have our safety glasses on. Remember, if you do this, this metal does get really sharp. And look, I'm not going for perfection on this. You see that, some of the lines I cut off and some I leave. This isn't going to be a permanent fixture on either sim. So if you notice, I have 2 cut out. And the reason for that is we have this stick is the same stick that we're using at the sim that's at the hangar for the youth builds that I was talking about on the last video. And as you saw in the last video, I tried to make it work, and I couldn't get the actual yoke to work that we had that somebody donated. So somebody else donated the stick, and the problem with the stick is just like in RCM at home, the floor sits too low. 8 inches for the one there and 6.5 for the one at home. But that's why we're making 2 of them. These shears, I don't know if they're all called aviation shears, but I know these ones are, and pretty sure these are the Wisp brand. When I was working in helping a guy flip a house, the electrician that came said that this is the best brand. It's just what I've always had anyway. They do make different ones. The colors do matter. Red is straight, at least on these ones. And yellow, I don't remember exactly which way. Yellow is left and green is right, or vice versa. But take your time. The nice thing is we can take our little grinder, which is this guy, and clean up the edges once we get it really close to what we want. I'm hoping that the fans are not too loud that I have running in here. Hopefully they don't show up too much on the video. If they do, I apologize. It's 85 degrees in the shop. And you see in the background, the shop doesn't have insulation in it, so it holds the heat, holds the cold. In the winter, it's freezing in here. Someday, the plan is to get insulation in it, but that's just not on the card right now, so just do the best we can. One of the videos that will be coming up, look out for the, it's probably not in camera. You might have saw it a little bit when I first started the video, but we have a pontoon boat, and I know that's not, it has nothing to do with flight sim, but the steering went out on it, and just the type of steering that was on it from the factory was really cheap and didn't last very long. However, on that same trip, our friends rented a pontoon boat that had hydraulic steering, and it was amazing. I drove that boat a little bit, and it turned amazing, stayed on plane better, and upon looking, the hydraulic steering was actually, with some coupons I found, like $50 cheaper than putting the factory steering back in. And I'm always up for a good upgrade. So even though it's not flight sim, I'll be doing that on video so I can do a review. It's the V4 hydraulic steering. But yeah, look out for that video. If it doesn't catch your fancy, I'd appreciate if you at least, like the video so it gets out there, so people that are looking to upgrade their steering can at least find that. All right, so, well, I don't have a timer going, but that was like 10 minutes. Not too bad. These ones, I'm not sure the best way to get those out yet. I might cut these out at the hanger and do it that way. Right now, this is, well, that might not touch. It might, but it might not. In the sim at home, I had it just Velcroed right there. And, oh yeah, it touches. So that's the way we're going to do ours. We're just going to Velcro it to it. This Velcro is super heavy duty. Matter of fact, I might do that to the one at the hanger too. It's super heavy duty. It doesn't let go easy. It took quite a bit of force to get that to come off. So I'm not worried about that. All right. Let's see if we can go straight up on this one. Remember, don't be in a rush. This stuff is super, super sharp, and you don't want to end up cutting yourself because you're trying to hurry. When you get to a corner like that, just if you can't get the tin snips to cut it, just flip it back and forth like I've been doing, and she'll eventually break. Like on the other pieces, I'm gonna just cut out a big section of it, and then we'll go back in and fine trim it. Look at that. Do this one first, and that I'll try to cut straight across it, and then use the rest of it for another project. One of the little towns near us has a business called BBC Steel, and it's a metal facility that sells new metal, all kinds of metal, not just steel, but aluminum, stainless, you name it. Plus they do manufacturing there. Well, sometimes they have leftover chunks from doing a project for somebody, and probably get closer as we go. So this piece of metal, I have no idea what it was for, but it was just out in the scrap metal yard, and it was 50 cents a pound when I bought it. Their prices have gone up like everything. Now I think it's 70 cents a pound for the regular steel, but that's still a good price. I think I paid like $3 for a whole bunch of these sheets, and I also bought some stainless steel. I don't know if you can see it over in the image, but this is a big piece of this regular steel. You just never know when it's going to come in handy. So I do not know if what I'm trying to do is going to work, but I'm hoping. The steel is super thin, obviously, because I'm cutting it with little tin snips. My hope, though, is that I'll be able to do a little welding and just weld the bars over here and just make this a little stanchion stand. It doesn't have to hold a lot of weight. I'm just going to put 4 bars, one in each corner, and I think once it's welded on, it'll be strong enough. So, just like the other, I'm going to take this grinding wheel when we're all done, and just grind it. On this, I'll grind it down to the black as close as I can. The reason I did that is I wanted this to be almost the same size as the stick. So this is the piece that will get screwed down in the sim, or maybe we'll also do the same thing, Velcro that down and see if it's strong enough. I think that'll have to be mounted, but yeah. Alright, one more. Try to get closer. Yeah. There we go. For the sim at home, this piece might have to get bent a little differently because it's just going to go on a floor that's not exactly flat. The floor in the sim at the hangar is pretty much flat. See, look, got that whole extra piece that I'll hang on to. Where my small stuff goes is under the desk. That's a mess. Eventually I'll have to clean that area up, but that. Hang tight. We'll fire up the air compressor. It's pretty loud, so we'll just throw some music on while we're doing this part. There you go. It's not perfect. Good enough for what we're doing. So, the next step, let's see, I keep going back and forth because part of me wants to make it adjustable. And to make it adjustable, it adds quite a bit more work. But, you notice, these pipes go in there. Come a little closer to the camera. They're not perfect, but they go in there. So if I need 8 inches. So if I went, 6 inches and 3 or 4 inches, so it also used more stuff, but then this could go down. I'd have to drill a hole in here, weld a nut to it, put a bolt on it, but then it could be moved up and down. And part of me wants to do that, part of me does not want to do that. Just because it'll use a lot more material. I have to drill 8 holes and get some 1/4-20 bolts. And I don't know, maybe that is what we do. And what we would do is weld that on. Actually, we set this down. This goes on like so. Do 2 at a time so we could get it centered. Weld it, and then flip it over and slip it on, so it was like that. And then weld it. Oh, decisions. I have enough of it. However, I also got this stuff really cheap in the scrapyard, and it's really nice to have for other projects. As a matter of fact, I need the big stuff for the seat in there, so I can't use the big stuff. So that just yep, that just made my decision for me. If we do it and it's not adjustable, okay, let's see. We needed this one 8 inches. We welded it on there. We could cut it off. That's 6. Okay. I guess the other reason to make it adjustable is my metal saw is just a cheap Harbor Freight one. It does not cut straight at all. And therefore, if I made them adjustable by a couple inches, because I could do 4 inches here. How much of this? Because I can always go buy more. I'm actually, well, actually I can get one of them if I did 4 inches and get one out of this. Do 4 inches, drill a hole. That would go 4 in there. So if I did 4 of these at 6 inches, and I put the bolt right up towards the top, and we could go a little farther than 8 if we needed to. Too much 6 inches. Planning, this is all about planning. I could actually have it drop down to 6 inches. Yep. Dang it. It's gonna take more work, but that's what we're doing. Okay. So, I'm gonna cut these one at a time. I'll take the camera over and watch it get cut. I'm just gonna measure them and cut them over there. 4 inches and 6 inches. And I will cut one and then measure it, cut it, measure it, cut it, because there's a kerf on the blade. We'll also go see if I can find some safety glasses that aren't so scratched up. Alright, give me a minute. We'll get back over there here in a second. Okay. We're going to throw on some music and just kind of watch it go. those I'll fully clean up later. So, since that's going to be on top, I'm going to flip it over. And I want to make sure that if I need to, if I do need to do it that way, then just going to give these a mark. And whichever ones I decide, these will go on the inside of that mark, so when we cut them out, you like that? Except that these will be on top of it. All right, so next plan of attack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am running low on battery, so I will get one of them, it doesn't matter which one actually, but I'll get one of them fully done, and we'll go from there. Okay, so a little 1/4 nut and bolt, and this guy. I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm doing, so I'll show you here. I'm going to put this about where I want it, and this guy, when you push down on it, it's got a spring and it makes a dent. So these aren't going to be perfect. I'm not going for perfect, so I'm going to get it close to where I want. Looks good. Don't know if you'll see it on camera, you probably can't, but it did leave a little bitty mark right there. So, I'm gonna do that to these 4. As a matter of fact, yeah, I put it on there so I don't go too. You want to make the mark big enough that when you get your drill bit over there, you can see where it made it. And you can adjust it while you're over there. Oh, that one's about right there. So, all right, I'm gonna mark and drill all 4 holes. Then, I've only got 4 bolts, so I guess that's not a big deal because the bolts, actually I got 5 bolts. And I just found a whole bunch of these nuts, so I'll be able to put the nuts on, and yeah. This is almost thick enough that I could tap this itself for what we're doing, but that's all right. We will make it happen. Okay, so we'll turn you around. Same thing, wear your safety gear on the drill press. All right, here we go. If you have a little bit of compressor oil, I suggest you put it on it. I do not think I have any. I do have some thread cutting oil. This is, I have no idea how old. Very, 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 very old. Still gonna do the job. Just a little drizzle. Get on. Let it roll. Alright, there we have it. Nice little hole. I will grab a bolt. The bolt goes all the way through. I will weld it by sticking it. We got to grind this down, but I'll weld it by sticking it in there and just giving it a couple tacks, and then it'll be nice and centered in that hole. One down, 3 more to go on this set. What we'll do is spin these bolts down enough that they'll be out of the way. And each one will just get a little tack on each side. Okay guys, we're running out of batteries, so hopefully I can get us through this. I'm not sure if we're going to, but the biggest thing about using a welder is making sure you have a good mask. This stuff's really dangerous, and you could potentially go blind if you are not super careful about it. So I should be able to, because my cable is grounded right here. I should move it over here so it's nice and grounded. I should be able to do these right on here, but I might not be able to. We're going to give it a shot, and if not, we'll move the ground. If you are a welder, please look away, because I don't know what I'm doing. Truthfully, that's all you need. These are just, I don't know that one I might, you got it, maybe. That one's a little stuck. We'll have to get some tools to get this one out, but it's just got to be on there enough to hand tighten them. That's all we're going for. We're just about out of both storage and batteries. So I am going to explain what we're going to do, and then when I get things charged back up and more storage, it'll probably be done and we'll kind of show it. But exactly like I did those bolts is what we're going to do on these. These ones I'm going to have on the base, and the screw is going to be pointing up. These ones are going to get welded to that spot, that probably just on the inside of that. And they'll go in like so. And let's see if I can get one more of these to screw in nicely. Once they cool down, they tend to work a little better. Huh? That's why I said it doesn't really matter too much how close they are, but it's going to be like that. Have all 4 of them. Once it's welded, that won't be able to move. I will have the screws on the inside so your legs don't hit them. And obviously you can adjust them to whatever height. When it's welded on, you'll be able to have them all loose, set it to the height you want it, and then crank it down. The spots where it's gonna be welded have to be ground down. Quick weld, all 4 of them. I'll probably weld them to this first, and then once these are welded on there, I can put them together like this and raise them as high as they will go. Set it on there, weld it down, good to go. All right, I will let this run as long as it'll go, but I'm pretty sure it's about out right now, actually. So stay tuned, and we'll show you the finished project when we get there. Hey guys, Flight Sim Jammer. We are back at the shop. So yesterday we left off when all the batteries and everything died. I continued on a little bit and I got it most of the way done. Let's see. Actually, before I take this off, these aren't exactly perfect, so just do that. That way I know which one goes in and I don't have to guess. But I went to the store and found these cool little knobs. And these are 1/4 but they are furniture sliders. They're actually made to, I don't want to do it on the metal, but they're made to slide around like that. Well, and they were only $1 something, buck, sorry. Only $1.50-ish, something like that. So, the one thing I did run into, try to get it on camera. I didn't have my heat hot enough, so my nuts pulled away. And also, you know, it didn't help that the welding helmet batteries died. So I had to just close my eyes and get a couple tacks on to see if this thing was even going to work. Well, now I know it works. I'll throw up a picture of the one that's in the sim. But I also ordered batteries for the welding helmet. So let me swap these guys out real quick. Hopefully real quick. And we'll take just a few minutes and put a little stronger tack on things. I think we'll be good to go. Since I've had this helmet, I don't know if I've ever replaced these batteries. Grab a little screwdriver. I just saw it work. I just saw it turn off. Nice. All right. Back in business. Sensitivity high. Delay minimum. Make this baby dark. I can lessen it up. That's going to be much better on the eyeballs. Okay. So, before I do that, put on these safety glasses. So one thing that, I might have mentioned this yesterday, I don't remember, but one thing that I learned from the brief little class I took on welding is the instructor said that you should, ideally you should wear safety glasses underneath your welding helmet because the blast is that strong. But yeah, okay, there's that. Let me grab a pair of work gloves real quick because I always try to have work gloves on when I'm playing with metal and even doing these little tacks. So got my gas on, got my torch. Torch is not hot, but okay. Here we go. Throw this bad boy on. See what we get. Beautiful. Okay, let's set this over to the side. So happy that that works. Gonna turn that to grind, but feeling that actually turns it off. The welding helmet I'm using is Eastwood, and it's an auto darkening XL 9300. It works extremely well. I got this particular one because the opening here that you can see out of is way bigger than a lot that I've used in the past. I've probably had it 4 or 5 years. That's the first time I've ever changed the batteries in it. Saying that, I probably shouldn't have left the batteries sitting on the welding table. But make sure you dispose of your batteries in the proper way. If you're going to throw them away, make sure that you put a little bit of tape on each one to cover them up. Although, really, you shouldn't just toss them in the garbage. Most, well, we call them dumps over here, the garbage dump. But sometimes they're called transfer stations. Most of those will take batteries for free. I actually just had to drop off a battery pack, and actually my laptop battery has both of them swelled up, and they were non-usable. Okay, I got every one of those hit. Beautiful. You want to, if you see, I warped it because I wasn't patient. So if you're doing this, just remember to be patient with it and let each one cool in between. I just wanted it done. So there we go. This one won't collapse all the way down because remember, it gets, maybe I should put some on that too. It gets, sorry, it doesn't go all the way down because these are taller to go in the other sim. It did, however, work pretty well to have this setup. I went ahead and put it in my sim. I did not sit in it, but it makes it sit up nice and tall. The only thing that I do kind of worry about is egress to get in and out, but I think I can work that out. All right, gonna hit a couple little more welds here and call her good. All right. So I won't be doing any special prep to this. So don't hurt it. Because like I say, this is just something to get us by. And if we like it, we can clean it up later. But so just some super cheap black that we had laying around, semi-gloss. And it'll take a few coats. First rule of spray painting is you don't have to get everything covered on the, well, okay, let me rephrase. You do not want to get everything covered on your first spray. Just a light mist, because you want it to just kind of bite into it. That's it. Give it about 10-15 minutes to dry. Hit it again. Once we get these done, I can slip them together. Should have looked and seen before I did that which one it was, so we'll have to guess again. But then we can lay it just on one side and spray the top and the bottom. Call it good. Two coats, that's all I'm going to give it. We'll let it dry for a little bit, hook them together, spray the other side. Okay guys, here we are. She's done. Or as done as it needs to be anyway. If this was, you know, something we were making for somebody, we would obviously make it a lot nicer. But it looks like she got a little overspray, so I'm going to clean her off a little bit. But these little guys will go in here. Like so. And the joystick will go right on top.